Very good evening, all of you. This is Meenakshi Nirula
Good
from
evening,
Mentoring the Mentors. As you have been watching the videos, short recordings, I have been sharing with all of you related to your professional development for lesson planning, for a number of another activities. So today we are just going to discuss about lesson plan. You see, recently I have been sharing with you different kinds of lesson plans. I will not be talking about any introduction. Generally, we talk about we require lesson plans. Why do we need lesson plans, right? So just to begin with, first of all, I just would like to ask you all, if you can ping in the chat box, how frequently you make lesson plans. I mean, you submit monthly lesson plan, or you submit fortnightly lesson plan, you submit a weekly lesson plan at your current organization, or they are the theme or topic based lesson plans. Okay, let me just check this chat box. Weekly, Balvinda ma'am says weekly lesson plan. Yes. Okay. So Ranjana ma'am also says weekly unit-wise lesson plans. Yes. So, okay. So most of you are talking about like you submit your lesson plans, weekly lesson plans. Okay. Competency-based education oriented, CBE oriented lesson plans you have been doing. See, weekly lesson plans, when we submit weekly lesson plans, when we talk about Monday to Saturday, and maybe in metro cities, we have got 5 days a week. Okay, did practice for chapter wise and monthly wise, right? So the thing is, when we make these kinds of lesson plans, we do it as per our organizations. Sometimes we make our plan like Monday to Saturday. Maybe in metro cities, we are having Monday to Friday, 5 days a week. So we plan like what we will be doing for those 5 days in our class. Okay, so accordingly, we go ahead with our lesson plan. We just cover what topics we will be covering in a particular day. Okay, in a particular period. So accordingly, we make our lesson plans. So I have shared with you, like as per CBE, as ma'am has already mentioned, Balvinda ma'am, even in collaboration with British Council, when we make lesson plans, we make theme-wise lesson plans. We go ahead with different kinds of lesson plans where we cover a particular topic, a particular lesson. Suppose I'm talking about science. So there is a chapter on nutrition, on force, on electricity, on pressure. So I have to make a lesson plan describing how will I cover the entire chapter. How will I start the chapter? How will I introduce? And accordingly, I'll go ahead with that. So today, I'm just going to share with you a lesson plan where we will discuss like based on monthly lesson plan. When we make a monthly lesson plan, accordingly, you can divide it into weeks also. Because I got to know from most of you, like you are making weekly lesson plans, most of you. So what we will be doing is, we will discuss about a monthly lesson plan in which you can easily divide the same into different weeks, right? So somebody has written something in the chat box. Okay, weekly. Most of you are doing it weekly, right? So I'm just going to share the screen with you. Let me know if it's visible to you. Let me put it on slideshow. So the screen is visible to all of you. So this is actually I have created for my school. So that's why the same logo is visible. Let me change the language, because at time the screen language that has been set to Punjabi. Just a minute. Because I don't think everybody will be able to understand that. Okay, so as this is the lesson plan, what is required in a lesson plan? We will not obviously discuss why do we make lesson plan, what all things we will be covering. We will discuss some of the parts, and this is a simple lesson plan that I'm sharing with you. Certainly, we'll begin with teacher's name, with class, with subject. Now you look at the subject column. Here I have mentioned, I mean, either you can go ahead with English, English, Hindi, the languages, or wherever you are teaching Punjabi also, other languages, Bengali is there, I mean, other mother tongue as we are teaching. So accordingly, either you can go ahead with subjects, because this is basically, I have made sample lesson plan targeting our foundational stage, from foundation, that is a nursery, to class 2. So either you will be mentioning using these terms, or you can also use word smart. The students, they are word smart. If you talk about MI skills, in that we talk about different learning styles. We talk about children, they are word smart, they are number smart, they are picture smart, right? They are body smart, kinesthetic, when we sports activities we are talking about. We can also talk about the children, they are music smart. Or you can, if you want to use that kind of terminology, English and Hindi, you can talk about literacy. For numbers, numeracy, when we talk about foundational literacy and numeracy. So this is how you can use different terminology that is accepted, that is used in your organization. So if you want to give it a touch of, you want to touch the multiple intelligences, and this should be clear to the students also, even when you will be using the same in the class, your co-teachers, your coordinators, your principal, they'll also get to know, yeah, you are relating different intelligences also in your class, you are catering to the different learners, you are understanding, like that is the requirement of foundational literacy and numeracy, and you know, you are familiar with those terms. So here I have taken the chapter I, me, myself. Topics I have mentioned, I'll be covering exploring myself, my different body parts I want to make the children understand. And you see, for the little children, we take every color day also. I mean, whether every week we have a different color, or maybe fortnightly or every month, so that we want to introduce the same to the children. And the subtopics I have mentioned, like the children will be clear about name, age, how to greet, hygiene, concept of big and small, and other concepts as well, because I have not added each and every topic, because this is a sample lesson plan. So I have just mentioned only a few topics. You can add according to your lesson plan. You can add according to your planning, like what is the duration when you will be covering this lesson plan. Whether you are making it for a week, you are going to make it for 15 days, you are making it for the entire month. So however you are going to do, you can do it. Now, academic vocabulary, this is really very important part. Whatever you are going to teach to your students, whether you are taking mathematics, you are taking social sciences, you are taking sciences, you are teaching little students any subject, make sure you mention the relevant academic vocabulary over there. See, this is academic vocabulary related to the child's subject. If the child is, we are talking about the little children here. If they are understanding, suppose I have just mentioned letter A, starting from letter A. So what all vocabulary you would like to add into child's vocabulary bank? You have to mention all those terms over here: aeroplane, astronaut, apricot, balloon, sea, what all words, so that you will be able to understand, because you are facilitating a language learning to the children. The more they will learn the words, it will be easy for them to communicate in that particular language. You see, when we talk to each other, like English is our second language, sometimes we feel short of words. Why? Because our vocabulary bank is not that rich. And at this age, it becomes difficult for us to learn new words. Most of the time when we read newspaper, we have to sit with a dictionary also. We have to Google some of the words. Though we understand the gist of a particular passage, particular news, it's not necessary to know the meaning of each and every word, obviously. That is, when we scan, when we skim, they are the different reading patterns. But here our objective is to enhance the students' vocabulary. When the parents, they also get to know what my child has learned. So you have got a whole list of the words that you have discussed with your students, and the children, they are aware of that. This is about the junior classes. When you go to the senior classes, if you are taking any topic, suppose you are teaching nutrition, suppose you are teaching water cycle, so accordingly relevant vocabulary you have to mention over here: autotrophs, heterotrophs, saprophytes, parasites, I mean, and then evaporation, condensation, precipitation, and then go ahead with the pressure, accordingly force. I mean, what all terminology, new words are there, you need to mention that. And the next is date, week, I mean, whatever you are planning for, you have to do that. Now, here comes the learning objectives. So my dear teachers, we always mention the learning objectives, what we are going to teach to our students and what is our objective to teach the same to our children. I have mentioned clearly the children, they'll be able to say their name. They acquire social behavior of greeting each other. They'll be able to indulge in free play and enhance imagination. They'll be able to name the body parts because I clearly mentioned my topic. I'll be explaining the external body parts to my children, and they'll be able to imbibe the correct way to wash hands and stay hygienic because I mentioned over there, like I will be talking about hygiene. Okay, and the color red, they'll be able to identify red color, name the objects, comprehend the concept of big and small, and enhance their attention span and develop listening skills. So what I'll be doing for listening skills, what all objectives I have mentioned here, what all activities I'll be mentioning, they all should be in sync with each other, right? So now look at the right side. I have two columns, two cells over there, where I have mentioned key competencies. When we talk about competency-based education, we need to take care of what all competencies we are going to enhance in our children. I have mentioned a few of the competencies that I like to focus on. It's not necessary for us to focus on each and every, you see, competency in each and every lesson, each and every subject, but we'll try to cover as many as competencies as possible. So I have highlighted collaboration, creativity, communication, emotional development, social responsibility, learning to learn. I have highlighted all because I have covered all the competencies. I have made a lesson plan for the entire month. Multiple intelligences, word smart, number or reasoning smart, picture smart, body smart, music smart, people smart, self smart, nature smart. That is the terminology that we use as per the learning styles, as per the Howard Gardner's theory of multiple intelligences. And we also use linguistic intelligence, logical, mathematical intelligence, any of the terminology that you think is a child friendly, that you can also understand and communicate easily, you can use that kind of terminology. And accordingly, you need to highlight what all intelligence or learning style you're going to cover. What do we do, my dear educators? I mean, as they say, teach the children the way they understand. If they don't understand the way you teach, because in our class, if we are having a strength of, in junior classes, usually we have 20 to 25 number of children. In senior classes, as per CBSE, it is 40, but I mean 35 to 40, these many children are there. Every child is having different learning style. We have mentioned here 8 to 9 learning styles. So if they are learning in a different learning style, means every lesson, do we have to teach in 9 or 8 different ways? Not possible for us. So what we have to do is, we have to incorporate different activities based on different learning styles so that we'll be able to gain the attention of our student. We'll be able to grab their attention towards our class. Sometimes we can show a video. Suppose water cycle is there. I may show a video to them. I may ask them, okay, go ahead with the help of a packets of, you see, transparent packets they can take. We can go outside, we can have some activity, we can visualize how the water evaporates, how this process happens. They'll be involved in that activity. Some children, they are music smart. I can even engage all my students in a song where they'll be able to talk about water cycle. There are a number of songs available on internet, and if you are having your own teachers and the students, they can compose their own poems and the rhymes, nothing like that. That will be music integration, right? That you can go ahead with number of activities. So likewise, you will be able to get their attention. You can ask them, like, this is the month of October, it's rainy season. Can you gather some data? I mean, weather forecast from Google and other thing, and they'll be able to, some children, they are tech smart. So they can search that data. They can talk about the rain when you're talking about water cycle. This is how you will be able to, you see, give attention to each and every child. They'll be able to understand, like, yes, there is something that my teacher understand, like I understand this way, and she is giving me attention. She is giving me opportunity to come forward in that way. So the same can be done. So before I go ahead with the day-wise lesson, I just would like to ask, in case anybody who has any question, or you want to share something, you can please go ahead, maybe in the chat. Due to network glitch, my voice is not clear. Is it so? I don't know. Somebody has mentioned.
Yes, ma'am, there is some problem, like your voice is cracking.
Okay. Just let me check my network connection. Maybe I'll switch between different networks. By the time, if you have any questions, you may ask.
So, Dr. Meenakshi, I just want to ask, key competencies could be what the primary classes or the
Excuse me, I
classes.
am just going to switch between my network if there is a glitch.
Okay.
Okay, just a minute. Sorry. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Audible.
Yeah. Please go ahead with your question.
So Deepti, this was the full lesson plan. I mean, if you can show us the next slides.
I'll show you all the slides. I'm saying somebody was having some question, so you can ask that question.
Okay. So where we are putting up learning objective or learning outcomes, because CBSE
let me tell you, I made lesson plan in different formats. Initially, even let me tell you, I also consider learning outcomes should be right at the top. But when you are creating a lesson plan, it becomes clear for you, like what exactly, first of all, your objective of teaching. Right. So what you are going to teach to your students and how you will map the same, how you will measure, like what is the child's learning. I have already mentioned the learning outcomes also. I'll be showing you each and everything. Like this is what you wanted to teach. Okay. Or maybe you can make a column right parallel to learning objectives. Like this is the learning objective. Like I have made here because of the constraint of space also. Like I will be highlighting these key competencies. I will be focusing on these multiple intelligences. And how will I measure? A next column can be made where you can mention the learning outcomes. How you will be able to see. Like, for example, you are talking about, like, I would like to talk to my children. This is my objective. My children will be able to understand, like, plastic is harmful for the environment. That is my objective to teach my students. Now, how will I measure? मुझे कैसे पता चलेगा whether they have understood or not, like plastic is harmful for the environment? And when they stop bringing any kind of plastic objects to the school, when they will say no to the plastic, even when they're outside somewhere standing with the vendors buying something from the hawkers and they say no to plastic. So, I mean, these kinds of learning outcomes you will be able to mention right in front, okay, in parallel. That can also be done. So as you are talking about this lesson plan, I have made it taking into consideration the month of October. So I have mentioned all the holidays and vacations, and I'll just show you how I have mentioned here. Like my objective is I have to teach my children to greet others. So obviously, when I am targeting my little children, I have to repeat some of the instructions, because in one day doing just giving one instructions, having one practice, they will not be follow the same. So there would be some repetitions also of some work. For example, if I mention, children will be taken to the activity room for exploring material. And here I've already mentioned the teaching aids, YouTube links, and homework, what I would like to say. Okay, now look here. They'll be exploring the different corners of the activity room. There are a number of objects available in activity room. The children, they will be able to select the objects as per their choice, as per the learning style, as per their preference, because we want to give voice and choice to the students, right? So they'll be selecting the material according to their choice, and we'll ask them to go and pretend play. So they will be able to pretend. I would like my children to interact. For example, see, I'll just show you a small video clipping over here. I have edited in my lesson plan. So accordingly, you can... Rice. Okay. And what else? Things you have. Hamburger. Okay, anything else? Pasta. Now see the child, I guess the voice was audible of the this video as well. So the
Yes.
child is acting as pretending as a chef, like what things I do have. So we can connect the same, we can talk to the child, okay, let the child describe on his or her own. Like I do not want, like we will be giving a few sentences to the child, and the child just mugs up those lines, crams those lines, and then speaks the same in the class. No, let the child, you have to interact with the child, let them come up there with their own words. So you will be able to teach them only in that manner. Maybe they are speaking 2 sentences or 3 sentences. ये तो नहीं है कि एक पूरी एक लिस्ट अगर लिख कर दे दी हमने 5 सेंटेंसेस की, आप ये याद करके आओ, आप ये बन के आओ, आप ये बन के आओ, तो वो दे विल not be able to share the, you will not be able to get the real picture. अभी अगर बच्चा कह रहा है कि इसमें हैमबर्गर है, में पास्ता है, I mean the child is very very familiar with all the junk food items and all, so you will be able to guide the child, like you have to take healthy food and all, so accordingly you'll be able to guide the same. So next I have mentioned, see either I'll just go to the previous slide. Now what kind of homework I have given to the child? Pretend to play with the sibling or the parent. You have to go home and now you will be pretending any other thing, or you may ask your sibling or maybe your parent to go ahead and pretend play. The same thing the child when will be doing at home, and parent they also look forward to, मेरे आज बच्चे ने स्कूल में क्या नया सीखा है, आते ही पहले पूछते हैं how was your day, what did you do, right? When the children they share, they get to know, yes, my child is learning something. So learning becomes visible that time when they reflect the same. घर जाते ही बोलते हैं ना, मैम ने बोला है पास्ता नहीं खाना, मैम ने बोला ये नहीं खाना, I have to eat this thing. So that time learning becomes visible, right? So next I have mentioned on another day, see I have here mentioned reading skills, writing skills, because they will go in parallel, hand in hand, right? This lesson plan I have made for pre-primary, where usually we are having homeroom teachers, we call them mother teachers, whatever we say, whatever we name them. So in that case, there is a teacher who will be taking care of reading skills, will be taking care of literacy, writing skills, numeracy, listening, LSRW, all the skills, all the subjects, right? Whatever we are taking. So I have not added at each and every column, but accordingly you can mention, like at what book page number, notebook number, counting, Hindi, and what all Varnmala shabd you are teaching, letters जो वर्णमाला के स्वर हैं, व्यंजन हैं, आप अगर जो पढ़ा रहे हो तो उससे रिलेटेड जो vocabulary है वो right at the top आपके academic vocabulary वाले में mention होना चाहिए. And now writing skills, tracing the numbers, letters, जैसे भी आप उनको करा रहे हो, usually हम छोटे बच्चों को पहले कोई letter start कराते हैं तो we take in a plate, in a bowl, semolina डाल देते हैं, sand डाल देते हैं, बच्चे उसके ऊपर trace करते हैं पहले tracing work, तो उसमें trace करते करते फिर then air tracing भी कराते हैं उनसे, and then फिर dots पर करते हैं, फिर लिखते हैं, whatever methodology you are using, maybe boards भी आते हैं जिसके ऊपर already engrave hota hai sab kuch, and they have to practice. So whatever practice you are following, make sure you mention, because step by step we'll be going ahead. Now next is interpersonal. Educators will greet everybody. Children they usually follow, imitate, right? जो हम करते हैं वही करते हैं. तो हमें सबसे पहले क्या करना है? खुद educators will be greeting everybody. They'll prompt the children to greet everyone. She'll initiate a discussion why greeting is important, why compliments are required, right? And she'll may also compliment their clothes. Oh my God, you're looking so, you are so immaculately dressed up. Uniform pehna hai, ya agar party clothes pehna hai, whatever it is. So this is how, I mean, we talk about happiness. We talk about how important it is to give compliments to each other. And now see, when we talk about multilingualism, so I have given homework like that, like greet the parents, greet the friends and neighbors in different languages. Ask the parent, like, is there any language that they know? Ask the neighbors, is there any language that they know? Because with the little children, usually we talk in English and in the mother language. And you see somewhere where there is Punjabi also, Hindi also, English also. And suppose parent belongs to, sometimes it happens like one parent is from some another area, parent ko Bengali bhi aati hai. usko kuch aur bhi aata hai. So in that case, the child learns more number of languages. That is really very good for a child who understand at least more than 2 languages. Uska critical thinking बहुत जल्दी बहुत अच्छे से develop होता है. So this is how we can go ahead. Rice. Okay. Likewise, I have added the links also for different greeting songs also. If you are sharing homework with your children, like we share through WhatsApp, we can share the links also. If you are having ERP portal, you are sharing through email, I mean, whatever LMS you are having, you can share the links also over there. So parents, they'll be able to use those links. Sometimes parents have difficulty. You want everybody to watch the same kind of video so that you can discuss the same next day in the class. I shared a link with you. Did you watch that video? What happened in that? So accordingly, you will be able to facilitate your learning based on the homework given a day prior, right? So I have highlighted here the term multilingualism. I have used maximum terminology from NEP 2020 when we talk about technology integration. We talk about multilingualism. We talk about competences. We talk about learning outcomes. So I have added each and everything in this lesson plan. Now, going ahead. Okay, so now what else? I have already said everywhere you'll be able to add learning skills, writing skills, and all. I will be just discussing with you about different kinds of activities that I have added here. Like verbal linguistic, I have shared that I would like to enhance my students' skills for listening. For that, I will organize a story session that either you will do, or maybe in our school we are having activity teacher, we are having another period given to the drama teacher, we are having performing arts. So in collaboration with that teacher, you will be able to organize the same. So when we have organized, so I have already mentioned, you will be using some props too, hand puppets, as we have already excuse me for a minute. Just a minute. So we were just talking about different kinds of activities. So verbal linguistic, we're talking about story session through hand puppets, and then free play. We want our children to learn freely under the guidance of a PTI teacher or maybe the class teacher, whosoever is there. So number of indoor games. So accordingly, you see relevant homework has been assigned, right? So you can just see number of activities have already been mentioned over there. Right, greetings. Sometimes I have repeated something like every Monday I have mentioned, like I'll begin with the greeting session. I'll ask my children, let's go and compliment Didi, nannies are there, let's say thank you to them. I mean, that will be kind of gesture. Okay, you can also you see, describe some days also. It's coming to my mind, like sometimes we have thank you Tuesdays, thank you Thursdays, that goes well. Like every Thursday, let's go and thank you someone. You have to either say thanks to your friends, thanks to your teacher, thanks to your nanny, driver bhaiya, anyone else, so that to develop that kind of feelings in our children, like we should go ahead with that, and they'll develop such feelings in them. Such gestures, such values will be enhanced. Now, next, linguistic, like I have added here, like because we want our children to learn the different body parts, as I already mentioned. So what I'm doing here is, I would like to talk about the previous activity too. See, children, they'll be greeting each other. And there is one activity I have mentioned here, like we'll be using calendar and a mirror. We want all the children, calendar is required because we are teaching day and date. How's the weather like? What's the day? What's the date? For that, this is the teaching aid. And why I require hand mirror? I want each and every child to look at the mirror and say, yes, I am beautiful. I love myself. Because even if you talk about health and wellness program that has been recently shared by CBSE that we have implemented in different classes from 6th onwards, there also it is clearly mentioned the first chapter, being myself. I love myself. So that kind of feeling should be there in our children. They should not start feeling, because you see, at many places, in many schools, in many classes, in different age groups, it has been observed the children, they start having some kind of you see, guilty, complex feelings in their mind, like maybe I don't look good, and others also start bullying them. You don't have fair complexion, your teeth are like that, maybe you need braces or whatever. I mean, it happens in different classes. So you can begin with, yes, I love myself, howsoever I am, I am beautiful. So that will give them a lot of confidence. And here it is, because you have to talk about the inner beauty, like values make you beautiful. And then this was activity. And then, because I want to talk about different body parts, so I have added here, Simon says, touch your nose. Simon says, I have added this rhyme also.
Hi friends, it's me. Okay. I get one more turn and then we'll switch. Ready? Simon says to touch your legs. Simon says to touch your elbows. Simon says to touch your shoulders. Simon says to touch your neck. Touch your belly button. Oh, Simon did it too! I did it!
So, I mean, this kind of links you can share so that children, they can play such kinds of games. Like in the homework also, I have mentioned play Simon Says game with the parents, sibling, friends, and complete the relevant worksheet with the parent collaboration. We'll be giving worksheet also to our students, because we have to focus on writing skills as well. So here for the mathematics, I am going to teach my students the concept of big and small. Big and small concept, I am going to teach my student. For that, I will narrate a story, The Enormous Turnip. I can share the link also with my children, and I can give the homework, sort big and small objects at home and complete the relevant worksheet. See, number of activities you know better than me for your subject. I'm just sharing with you what all topic you are going to cover. You have to mention the strategy that you will be using to cover that topic. You have to mention the teaching aids required. You have to mention if any kind of YouTube Khan Academy link, because you see, that is also required. Children, they need to refer to the different, I mean, you cannot just take away from them different devices. We are in a hybrid mode. They will be using that also. And even you can use Flipgrid and other digital tools also, where children, they'll be able to record and they'll be able to share the same. That is a very great, you see, community that is being used by across all over the world. You will be able to collaborate with different schools also on Flipgrid all over the world, right? So the next year I have mentioned children will be greeted and encouraged, and accordingly I have mentioned here the relevant What's the Weather Like song also. The link has also already been put over here. And What's the Weather Like activity with the parent and sibling. They'll be talking about prediction of the weather too, right? Now, see, this is again begin small concept. I have shared the link, right? So revision of the concepts would be required. I want my children to, because I have highlighted naturalistic, relating with the nature. Children will be able to explain the importance of clean hands, and they'll observe 5 steps to wash the hands, right? So the same can be demonstrated in the class by the teacher, right? Or maybe relevant worksheet can also be given to them. Now, because my objective was, see how I'm relating the same, like I have to cover the same. I have to focus on the learning objectives, जो मैंने पूरे शुरू में focus करे. हम करते करते लेसन प्लान करते करते लर्निंग ऑब्जेक्टिव्स को भूल जाते हैं, बिकॉज लर्निंग ऑब्जेक्टिव्स यूजुअली हम क्या करते हैं, बुक के आगे मेंशन किए होते हैं, वहीं से केवल कॉपी पेस्ट करके टाइप कर लेते हैं, और उसके बाद अपना लेसन जो पढ़ाना है, वी टीच दैट लेसन प्लान एंड वी फॉरगेट अबाउट वहां पे क्या मेंशन हुआ था. अब मुझे याद है वहां पे मैंने क्या क्या मेंशन किया था. इन सिंक विद दैट आई एम मेंशनिंग ओवर हियर, लाइक red day hai, so I will bring red objects, what all things are available in the school, or maybe I can carry it from the home. I'll be able to share it with the students, and relevant related homework will also be given. Collect all the red objects available at home, fruits in the kitchen, and sort them accordingly, And here also, teacher can also dress up in red. Children also dress up in red. All red balloons. You know very well, you have been celebrating number of, you see, color day, and any kind of creativity, innovation, you can add into that. And now, to reinforce, see the idea, to reinforce what the children they have learned a day prior, the next day, I am narrating a story, The Red Monkey, to them. Well, that should be in connection to what all things I have taught them a day prior. भूल जाते हैं वो, एक दिन पढ़ा है, अगले दिन हमें उनसे related कुछ कराएंगे, फिर कराएंगे, then they'll be able to understand. Repeated instructions are required for children, and there should be in different manner. एक ही चीज को repeat करेंगे similar way में 2-3 बार, तो it becomes monotonous, and you will not be able to gain your children's attention. So you have to change the way. Right? We're talking about red color, but now it's story going on. See, arts integration. Now, what I did the next day, I asked my children along with that, there was an art period. So I asked my teacher, what is to be done in art period? The children, they'll be either making a craft for an apple, for cherry, maybe some another red object, or maybe fruit. So that is also enhancing what the children they have learned 2 days ago. So we have to coordinate. I mean, if I say independently, whatever I'm teaching, my children will understand. No, I need to collaborate. First, I will collaborate, then I'll be able to teach collaboration to my children. Right? So I need to collaborate with different teachers. So the same will be done in the class. And the children, they will discuss the same at home when they'll take away. एक बच्चों के लिए टेक अवे होना चाहिए, जो स्कूल में कुछ बनाते हैं, क्राफ्ट है, they'll carry home, right? And then next is a bodily kinesthetic. उनका स्पोर्ट्स का पीरियड है, बॉडी स्मार्ट लिख सकते हैं, right? Bodily kinesthetic activities हैं. So children, they'll be taken to the play area or maybe activity room, indoor games, whatever place is there. And educators will encourage them to do specific actions related to body parts. Right? Jumping and all the action words, because we want to ask them which body part you are using to clap your hands, which body part you are using to jump, and all that is also relating to whatever we had taught them a week prior. So this is how, I mean, we need to foster their learning. Whatever they have learned a week prior, that has to be repeated in some different manner in the coming week. Whatever they have done maybe a day prior, that also you can do at least in a different manner on another day, right? So that kind of repetition of the topics is required, right? So we have now played here. There are different kinds of songs are also there, like head, shoulder, knees, and toes. They'll be able to know about those body parts. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. I have added a few songs over here, right? So now after that, children will be greeted and encouraged to do the same. Greetings when they'll be observing their parents, their teachers doing it. And now I have mentioned here, each one teach one. Like they'll be teaching to others also. You may ask, you have learned the hand wash techniques. You'll be teaching the same to either your sibling. You can record a video, you can click a picture, you can share the same. They will be, you see, revising the concept. They'll be sharing the same with the peer group, or maybe at their home with the parent, with the sibling. So the same can be done. If you're talking about weather activity, you can ask them to do the same at home. Body, I have some another activity also I have mentioned. I'll just share the same with you.
ABC Kids.
Now, see, educator will hold a discussion on how we keep ourselves clean, and then a hand wash. And I have added one more rhyme also: wash, wash, wash your hands. You'll get number of videos to supplement your learning in each and every subject from the net, whether you are teaching periodic table in a senior grade, or maybe you are teaching social sciences, Delhi Sultanate, you are talking about anything, fractions, water cycle, you'll be able to get each and everything. So make sure you use what ready to use resources in your classes. You may use the same as a flipped classroom. You may ask your children to go through it and then discuss the same in the class. So bring a variety in your teaching style. If you talk about mathematics, we'll give worksheet to the students to understand comparison on the concept of big and small, because I know Diwali is nearing, right? So 24th, 25th Diwali break is there. So related to that, I asked my children to decorate diyas also, some small diyas, some big diyas, children they bring from home. You can talk about concept of big and small. Sorting activity can be done. Ask them to color the same in different colors and then sort the red color diyas because you have already made them familiar with red color. I mean, I'm just giving you an example. Like you can relate the same with the festivals or the activities also, right? So I have mentioned here homework too. So this is how the same can be done. Now, I want to relate this to nature. So I have asked my children like to share or maybe functions of body parts. What can we do with the hands, body parts different. So I can here, I have related the same with the shadow puppets too. मतलब रिलेटेड रेलेवेंट हाउ सी एक चीज से वो कनेक्ट हो कि हम कितना बच्चों का नॉलेज एनहांस करते हैं बट साथ में ट्रैक नहीं खत्म करना है अपना ट्रैक विल बी सेम लाइक विद द हैंड्स if I'm making a butterfly, see I can show you a shadow also. Now may I see like with the help of handprints we'll be able to art period mein wahi handprint karke they are making a butterfly. So all the things, this is called integrated learning. Learning about body parts, what we can do with the hands, they are talking about different, you see, talking about insects too, the butterfly flies, it's very colorful. They can use red, different colors, but this is a red color that we celebrated 2 weeks ago. So they'll be able to connect the things. Our brain, you know very well, you must have read it, listened to it, right? Like our brain learns through connections. If we learn something and that we'll be able to relate whatever we have learned earlier, we memorize it for a longer period of time and we understand. This is how we have to connect. Now here I have taught my children the uses of hands, touch, and I can do that activity also. Rough surface, smooth surface, they'll be able to use their senses because I'm talking about body parts. And then to understand the sound, I can create such kind of sound jars in my class. Empty boxes children can bring. We can put stones, beads, buttons over there, and children, they can go ahead with that. So this is how I have mentioned 31st of October. And here I have mentioned because I want to talk about hygiene. I have talked about brushing the teeth also, activity room. And you see, this is a beautiful activity. Like I have given my children, like make body outline of your soft toys at home. And in class, I can ask my children to lay down and with the help of chalk, the body outline can be drawn. And they can see whose body outline is this. I mean, that can be a wonderful activity, like who is growing fast and the children's outline, the activity can be done. Here, brushing of teeth, I have already added. If in your school you are having clay play also, with the help of clay or maybe pottery clay, the children, they'll be able to make different kinds of faces, maybe children, body parts, body organs, you can ask them to go ahead with that. I mean, the theme should be integrated throughout different subjects, right? So now, initially someone asked about learning outcomes. I have mentioned here because of the lack of space. It's up to you where you would like to mention. In some of the schools, we mention learning objectives and flow of the program and learning outcomes, okay? Somewhere we mention learning objectives and learning outcomes parallel to each other. So let's see now learning outcomes, how many learning outcomes I have mentioned, even more than my learning objectives. Just have a look at this. First of all, the left column, you can see a few pictures. These are the snapshots of the worksheets that I have given to my children. I have planned that I'll be giving worksheets to my children every weekend, means 4 weeks. So I have put the snapshots of the 4 worksheets. Body parts, I have given in the homework. Red color, I have given in the homework. Steps of washing hands, I wanted my children to go ahead with the sequence and then big and small. So I have to show the worksheets also over here. Now see, look at the learning outcomes. These learning outcomes are in sync with the learning outcomes given by NCERT and CBSE manual. You can go and you can check it. That are in sync with that. They have given us a list of learning outcomes for all the classes till grade 10. So I have mentioned children will be able to greet elders, peers, youngers in different languages. Mother tongue, Hindi, English, okay? So and then they'll be able to, I can measure. See, आप देखिए लर्निंग ऑब्जेक्टिव हम मेजर नहीं कर सकते. आप लर्निंग आउटकम में देखिए कि विल यू बी एबल टू मेजर द सेम. चेक पॉइंट है इसका, तब वो लर्निंग आउटकम है. चिल्ड्रन ग्रीट करेंगे एल्डर्स को, पीयर्स को, यंगर्स को. आप देख सकते हो स्कूल में दे आर ग्रीटिंग देयर फ्रेंड्स, दे आर ग्रीटिंग देयर दीदी, भैया, नैनी. हाँ, आप चेक कर सकते हो. यू कैन चेक इट इन असेंबली ऑल्सो, राइट. एंड देन चिल्ड्रन विल बी एबल टू सॉर्ट डिफरेंट ऑब्जेक्ट्स बेस्ड ऑन बिग एंड स्मॉल. अगर मैं ये लिखूंगी चिल्ड्रन विल बी एबल टू अंडरस्टैंड द कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ बिग एंड स्मॉल, वो क्या है हमारा ऑब्जेक्टिव. बिकॉज जो अंडरस्टैंड किया उसको हम कैसे जानेंगे कि उनको समझ में आया कि नहीं आया. मैंने यहाँ पर क्लियर कट मेंशन किया है, दे विल बी एबल टू सॉर्ट डिफरेंट ऑब्जेक्ट्स बेस्ड ऑन बिग एंड स्मॉल. मैंने उनके सामने ऑब्जेक्ट रखे, वो सॉर्ट आउट करेंगे बिग कहाँ है, स्मॉल कहाँ है. मीन्स मैं इसको मेजर कर सकती. Next is they'll be able to recognize the color red in different shades and objects. Can you measure it? Tell me. I have been speaking actually for a long time. I would like to interact with you people now. Can you measure it? Recognize the color red in different shades and objects. Any one of you? Yes. You can unmute. Can you see? I mean, children, they are recognizing. They'll be able to sort the different colored objects from red or maybe some other objects.
We can show them different colors objects.
And they'll be able to. They'll be able to. If you ask them to pick the red one, will they be able to do that?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So
Yes,
you'll be able to.
if they were learned the color red, they can.
So it means you'll be able to measure their learning, like whether they have understood or not, whether they are picking the right color object or they are getting confused between red and pink or red and orange. Okay, so you'll be able to measure it. Okay. And the next is they'll be able to talk about themselves, their name, their age, their class, their likes, dislikes. Yes, you can measure it. You can ask them to speak about themselves, and then they can pretend in different roles as per the choice and speak 3 to 5 sentences. So you can measure it, right? They'll be able to develop the ability to express one's thoughts. Now see what is being mentioned over here. Yeah. Nobody is speaking. Maybe you're not taking interest.
No, Meenakshi, I just want to know a lot of disturb. As you know, it is Sunday today. You can well imagine I'm sitting and a lot of activities going on.
Yeah.
What have you asked? Can you repeat the question?
I'm just asking, like I have mentioned the learning outcomes. You pick and choose any learning outcome of your choice and you let me, will you be able to measure it? I mean, then only it will become a learning.
Yeah, I was and जैसे मैम ने बोला कि we can ask to segregate the different colors.
Yes.
They can do it. We can put the walls, box
Yes.
रख देंगे, कुछ भी रख देंगे, है ना? We can do that with bindis. Bindi वाली activities से निकाल सकते हैं. And if you are going to अभी मुझे लगा ये sentences pertain to the different roles. We can do a magic pot, slips डाल देंगे या बच्चे छोटे हैं तो we can ask कुछ flash cards डाल देंगे तो वो flash card आके निकालेंगे. Might be this is a role play of a doctor and they can play a doctor's role. इसी तरह अगर आपने बोला कि sentences 2 or 3 sentences है ना on the role तो they can speak like this. बहुत सारी activities हैं. I mean for this sheet what I'm observing कि this is a consolidated assessment sheet. We can take it as an assessment और इसको हम अपने timeline के हिसाब से we can बना सकते हैं इससे.
Yes, certainly. अब देखिए मैंने ये लर्निंग आउटकम जो मेंशन की है मैंने उसमें ये बताया कि जो हमारी लर्निंग आउटकम्स हैं अगर तो हम उसको मेजर कर सकते हैं तो इसका मतलब हमने लर्निंग आउटकम वो सही मेंशन की है. अगर हम सोचते हैं कि चिल्ड्रन दे विल बी एबल टू गेट एन आइडिया व्हाट इज बिग एंड स्मॉल तो आइडिया को हम कैसे चेक करेंगे? वी कैन नॉट गो उसके ब्रेन में क्या समझ में आया. तो लर्निंग आउटकम में क्या होता है कि हाउ यू विल बी एबल टू मेक द लर्निंग विजिबल कि आप चेक कैसे कर सकते हो कि बच्चे को समझ में आया कि नहीं आया। आपका मैंने सिंपल सेंटेंस में जैसे आपको ये बताया कि इफ माय ऑब्जेक्टिव इज, हम ऑब्जेक्टिव ऐसे लिखते हैं ना, माय लर्निंग ऑब्जेक्टिव इज टू मेक द चिल्ड्रन अंडरस्टैंड द कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ बिग एंड स्मॉल, माय ऑब्जेक्टिव इज टू मेक द चिल्ड्रन अंडरस्टैंड like how to add two numbers, right? Now they have understood, knowledge ये provide करनी है, I would like to provide the knowledge, ये वो blah blah everything we have mentioned. But if you have to check the measure the learning outcomes, वो कैसे करेंगे? जब हम अपने बच्चों के पास में कोई चीज रख देंगे कि उसको टोटल करके दिखाएं। हम अपने बच्चों को ये बोला है कि ये ऑब्जेक्ट है, इनको सॉर्ट करके बताओ। बच्चे 10 ऑब्जेक्ट में से रेड ऑब्जेक्ट्स फाइंड आउट कर लेंगे, तो इसका मतलब वो हमने अचीव कर लिया, दैट इज learning outcome. So I'll just show you one thing more. Lesson plan has not ended yet. ये मैंने यहाँ पर इसमें sunny and muddy areas लिखे हैं, और इससे पहले मैंने इस रिफ्लेक्शन में I have mentioned some FAs, formative assessment also I have mentioned, कि मैं formative assessment कैसे करूंगी बच्चों की। जब वो ऑब्जेक्ट सॉर्ट आउट करेंगे, जब वो हैंड वॉशिंग के स्टेप्स को सीक्वेंस में प्रॉपर अरेंज करेंगे, जब वो बताएंगे व्हाट्स द वेदर लाइक टुडे, दे विल बी एबल टू सी, notice, observe and tell me, and then sorting object as per color wheel. मैं पूरा कलर व्हील रख दूंगी, उसमें बोलूंगी इसके अकॉर्डिंगली ऑब्जेक्ट सॉर्ट आउट करो। जिगसॉ होगा मेरे पास नंबर और एक जगह पर ऑब्जेक्ट्स का पिक्चर, वो ज्वाइन कर पाएंगे, मींस मैं उनकी असेसमेंट ले रही हूँ। सनी एरियाज, मडी एरियाज जो जो आपके हैं वो आप उसके अकॉर्डिंगली मेंशन करिए, मुझे जो लगे तो मैंने मेंशन कर दिए। एंड इसके बाद मैंने इसमें एक और चीज ऐड किया है, लेसन प्लान, बिकॉज गांधी जयंती पर मैंने क्या कराना है, क्राफ्ट वर्क। इस मंथ में वर्ल्ड एनिमल डे है, इस मंथ में दिवाली और दशहरा है, उससे रिलेटेड मुझे क्या क्या एक्टिविटी करानी है, आई हैव एडेड इन माय लेसन प्लान, राइट? तो वो मेरा एक कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव, एक कंप्लीट चीज है कि मैं इस महीने में क्या क्या करा रही हूँ। तो आई हैव मेंशन्ड ऑल माय एक्टिविटीज। वर्ल्ड एनिमल डे मैंने क्या कराया बच्चों को, एंड एवरी वीक इन आवर स्कूल वी आर हैविंग असेंबली, राइट? सो आई हैव ऑलरेडी मेंशन, गांधी जयंती पे मुझे एक वीक में ये कराना है, इसमें मैं सेव एनिमल के साथ रिलेट करूंगी, इसमें दशहरा में, इसमें दिवाली में। सो दिस बिकम्स माय कंप्लीट लेसन प्लान। सो दिस इज हाउ I made it. I thought I would share the same with you. So if you have any queries, if you have any questions, if you have any suggestions, please do share. We can discuss. We have got 1 or 2 minutes before I leave.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes, please.
Okay, Balwinder Kaur, ma'am, you can continue.
मैम आप करें, मैं आगे से बोल रही हूँ, प्लीज आप करिए।
हाँ, बताइए मैम।
मैम, what about these SGDs?
हाँ, SDGs, सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट गोल्स, वो अभी छोटे बच्चों के साथ इसमें मैंने लिखा नहीं है, बट इफ यू विल बी एबल टू मेंशन, सब जगह आपका सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट जो है वो इंटीग्रेट हो सकता है। इसी को अगर मैं, लेट अस सी, आज संडे है, इफ यू थिंक आपको संडे कंफर्टेबल है या सैटरडे कंफर्टेबल है, वीकेंड पर वी कैन मीट, और इसी लेसन प्लान को मैं आपको मॉडिफाई करके आई कैन शो यू हाउ यू कैन इंटीग्रेट SDGs एट ईच एंड एवरी लेवल।
Okay.
The same can be done. Sustainable development integration, like we have integrated art, this we have integrated multiple intelligences and competencies. इसी में ही हम SDGs को देखना integrate करते हैं, तो it will come more beautifully. That's really a good idea, but certainly it takes a lot of time, lot of patience, lot of research to create lesson plans.
Yes, ma'am. And maybe just one small one we can add in it, so that it will be a complete one. Anyhow, it's so beautiful.
When we are talking about hand wash, like, there also we can talk about. When we are talking about how's the weather like today, we can add climate action SDG 13. Okay. When we talk about, water, then also we can talk about SDG 6, right? 6. So, all those SDGs, they can be beautifully integrated over here.
Thank you, ma'am. Beautiful, ma'am.
Anyone else? So thank you all of you for sparing your wonderful time. And
Meenakshi, I have one.
Yes.
Oh no, sorry to interrupt.
No. Yeah, no. Yes, please.
Okay. The formative assessment, can we make some of the rubrics with that?
Ma'am, actually, I have just mentioned here a lesson plan. Like this will be done in formative assessment. Like I have mentioned 4 formative assessments. So those formative assessment, obviously, when we will be doing, we will be having a session on, you see, rubrics also, like how we'll be doing. I will be having session general rubrics when we are having beginner, maybe intermediate or advanced, or maybe nowadays we are talking about single point rubrics. That has become very easy for the teachers and everywhere it is being used. Single point rubric.
I was coming to that point only because I had struggled a lot. Sometimes teachers are not that,
Yes.
intermediate or advanced mein chale jaye wo. Secondly, some impacts are like observable and sometimes they are measurable. तो उस चीज को भी हम देख के बना लेंगे.
Yes,
तो मुझे rubrics पे आपका session, if you can.
So let's do one thing. I mean, coming weekend, you just let me know when you people are free. I mean, Sundays or Saturdays or maybe what time. So accordingly, we can go ahead because I know daily, so you people don't have time. You have loads and loads of work. So we can have session on that. So we can have session on rubrics maybe coming week. We can talk about both type of rubrics.
Thank you. It was wonderful session. I mean, such a integrated approach. मैं शुरू में ना ये बनाती थी LSRW MI बना के, and it was really a very, आपकी बहुत अच्छी efforts हैं, and we would like to have more from you. Thank you.
Certainly,
so very
ma'am.
much.
I'm always there for all of you. I'm always there for education. See what all I have learned, I want to share with all. And even I have already collaborated with iPowers from UK. Okay, Dr. Jagdamba Tanwada ji is there. So with them also, with their team too, we'll be having many sessions in the upcoming days. So you will enhance your learning. So I'll be sharing with you on in the group also. I keep on sharing, mentoring the mentors. So you can go ahead with that.
मेरे टीचर आए हैं आज, लेकिन सीनियर क्लासेस के ज्यादा आ चुके हैं तो
no I will share the recording also, and I will be having session on senior classes also, because this time I targeted my school's foundational wing. Foundational is from pre-primary to second, so I have shared only with them these link. In the upcoming days I'll be having for Hindi also, for mathematics, for sciences, for social sciences, for the middle and for the senior classes. I'll be having sessions for those also. I'll share the links with you. See, my teachers are also there. So I'll share the links with all of you.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye.
Thank you.